Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning back into 6.8.11. My name is Kylie, and today I'm going to finally tell you guys what exactly happened in the operating room and what was reported to me after surgery and what we discovered through the legal process of what actually happened. Um, so when I woke up from my surgery where I last left you guys, I was paralyzed from T4 down. Complications arose when my surgeon was placing the screw at the T4 level of my spine. What was reported to us was that during that part of the procedure, my spinal cord suffered what's called a spinal cord infarction, which in layman's terms really means that my spinal cord had a stroke. This is extremely, extremely rare to have happen, especially in the operating room, but especially for someone who was as young as I was, who was as healthy as I was, and who was as athletic as I was. I think at the time my surgeon said that the amount of cases reported for someone who fits my age and health levels, you could count the number of cases on one hand. So that gives you an idea of how rare this was. So it can almost come as a shock, like when you hear that, like, how could this have possibly happened to me then? The answers really weren't there. The neurologist came in and tried to explain it the best he could, but you could tell that everyone was a little baffled by the situation and not really providing all the details, or they didn't have them. They just didn't know why it happened. During the surgery, when I lost all motor and sensory, my surgeon removed all the instrumentation and tried to see if it was the instrumentation that caused this paralysis, and he deemed that it was not. So they aborted the surgery, pulled me out, and after reviewing all the films, they ruled it a spinal cord infarction or stroke. So fast forward to 2013. I had some further complications arise with my spinal cord, and I was going in for another surgery, of which only 2 surgeons in the country were willing to operate on. One was in Denver, and the other was in Miami. We chose, due to insurance reasons, to go to Miami. And this surgery I will expand on in a later video, but long story short, it was a very risky surgery because it involved draining some fluid out of my spinal cord. And before the surgery, we met with the surgeon and we were going over all the details, again, all the risks, the less than 1% paralysis, less than 1% death. But there were many more risks to the surgery because it was so, it required a lot of attention because of my history, and, just being anywhere in the spinal cord is very difficult. It makes the risks much higher. But before the surgery, I remember my mom asking the surgeon, the best neurosurgeon in the country, she asked, "Are you afraid that Kylie's going to suffer another spinal cord infarction or spinal cord stroke during this surgery?" And the neurosurgeon looked at me, looked back at the films, looked at me again, and goes, "I'm not worried about that at all." And my mom and I were both kind of taken aback, and he could tell that we were a little bit in shock. And he was like, "I don't know why you're asking that question, but she did not suffer a spinal cord infarction. There's definitely mechanical issues that happened in her spine. I will not elaborate, but it was not her body that reacted to the surgery. It was a mechanical issue. So that sparked a lot of questions in our head, and we respected our neurosurgeon's wishes and did not go after him for answers. But in the meantime, we were also well into the discovery phase of my lawsuit against the surgeons. So during the discovery phase, and after hearing from my new neurosurgeon, about 8 months after that surgery, we found out through a discovery that my neurosurgeon was right. My spine did not suffer a spinal cord stroke, and instead my surgeon, while placing the screw at T4, had some difficulties and had to use a probe. And when he was using the probe, he accidentally went through my spinal cord with the probe. So he punctured my spinal cord and actually went through to the other side of the spine. Whether or not my surgeon knew this or not is still up in the air, but that was a crazy, crazy thing to hear. For in excess of 2 to 3 years, I thought that I had a spinal cord stroke and that my body caused this and that my body reacted to the surgery negatively. And that was really hard for me. But then hearing that my surgeon was the one that caused this opened up a whole nother door to questions, to doubt, to anger, so many emotions and so many questions that just were running through, I think, not only myself, but obviously my parents, my family, my brother, just trying to figure out what the hell happened. And did he know? And did he cover this up? And was he just trying to cover his butt, and was everyone else in on it because he was so well known in the industry? A lot of those questions are still unknown. We've since ended the legal process, and he was deposed, and those questions were asked, and I don't think I'll ever know the truth on that, whether or not he would just honestly didn't think he did that, or if he covered it up and everyone else did too. There's a lot of holes, there's a lot of questions still, but most importantly is what was reported to us as being a spinal cord stroke and my body reacting to this surgery in a negative way was not what happened. It was malpractice. There are some takeaways from this. First of all, I go into surgeries with a little bit more ease now, and not nearly as nervous because I know it's not my body reacting to the surgery, and I know that there isn't a risk of it happening again, because it's not a vascular injury within my body. And I know that surgeons, because of my history, are going to take much more precaution maybe than they would normally. Obviously, their precaution is always 100%, but there's always more surgeons in my operating room than necessary. There's always more films being taken, and there's much more time being taken. So that gives me a little more ease, having the answers that I do. But there's also a very important lesson that I had to take out of this, and that was to not be angry, but but just accept that I finally had the truth. I had a very good relationship with my surgeon, and I think, he visited me at RIC every day. He came to check up on me, and I gave him a Father's Day card after he paralyzed me, because I didn't know the answer. I thought I had a spinal cord stroke. But I think the really important lesson to take away from now having the answers is that no one's perfect. And the reason surgeons have insurance is because they aren't perfect either. They're human. And, unfortunately, I was his one mistake in his career. But I can't fault him for that, because everyone makes mistakes. And I just have to believe that he honestly didn't know that he did it. I don't know if that's true or not, but I can't linger on that, and I can't focus on that, because if I do, then my anger is just going to sit inside me, and I'm not going to move forward. I have to believe that he didn't know that he had done that to me, and it wasn't all a lie, and it was an honest mistake. So yeah, I've chosen to do that, and I think that's a pretty important lesson for everyone, is to forgive. Don't have to forget, but to forgive and move on. And if you can't move on, then I don't think there will be any progress. If you continue to be angry and hold on to this grudge, you're never going to see all the good that came out of your circumstance. I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason, and I believe this happened to me for a reason. And maybe it's to share my story with you and provide inspiration and hopefully positively impact you. But maybe it was to show me how strong I could be, and maybe it was to bring my family even closer than we already were. I don't really know, but there's so many good things that came out of this that I cannot linger on the bad. And that includes the anger that I had towards my surgeon. So, after many questions of what actually happened, I have the answers, and now you have the answers, or at least some of the answers. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate all the support, as always. Please continue to comment on topics that you'd like to hear from me about. No topic is off the table. The point of this is to be as open and vulnerable and get all your questions answered. And in a way, they kind of help me answer some questions too. But please subscribe, please like, please share, and I will come at you with a new topic very soon. Thank you.